Sue, they are putting a pause on the Johnson & Johnson vaccines. And I gotta ask, Sue, are you vaccinated?
Yes, I am. I actually was vaccinated a week ago with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
I was supposed to get my Johnson & Johnson this week, but now that the plans had to be changed.
There have been reports of people who have gotten the Johnson & Johnson vaccination, had blood clots, mostly, I believe, at this point, all women, and of a certain age. And they are putting a halt on administering the vaccine. They're not pulling it off the market. They're going to investigate the claims. Every single medicine is based on a risk-benefit ratio, right? The risk of what the harm may do to some people versus what the benefit it will be to most people. Even stuff like Tylenol comes with its risks. There have been some 7 million doses of Johnson & Johnson given, and there has been, unfortunately, sadly, one death and these other reports. But in terms of risk-benefit analysis, that's probably a risk that most pharmaceutical makers and takers are going to be comfortable taking at this point in the pandemic.
For anybody watching this who is a woman and is in that age range, we want to tell them to look out for these side effects. Look out for severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, shortness of breath.
If you look at the time frame when this occurs, it's pretty tight, from a few days, 6 to 13 days from the time of the vaccination.
And that's actually what this pause is all about, is to have doctors look out for it. I mean, this is a pause. This isn't like a cancellation. So this is just to kind of wait and see and then move forward.
If you call your doctor, you want to alert your doctor that you had the vaccine.
So the pause not only allows us to take a look at the cases and learn more, but it is also a signal out there to help the physicians.
Most of the doses are Pfizer and Moderna. And I'm hearing from a lot of states, I live up here in New Hampshire and in Massachusetts, this is not going to really slow them down. They're going to keep giving the doses to the people that want them.
There have been now 120 million people that have received at least one dose of a vaccine. Most of that, subtract the 6.85 million, is in the messenger RNA from Pfizer and from Moderna. There have been no red flag signals from those.
Right, and actually we were on the verge of having a Johnson & Johnson dose slowdown for reasons we can get into at another time. So there was already an expectation that there wasn't going to be a lot of Johnson & Johnson over this period. It's still better than getting COVID, right? That's certainly the numbers that we're seeing coming out.
Speaking of blood clots, I actually hear that birth control can actually increase your risk of blood clots as well, and actually at a higher rate than this vaccine, but a lot of people take birth control, and so it's that kind of risk management that you were talking about.
Right, you're also scratching a little deeper at a different kind of scab, Rob, because women traditionally had not been included in many of the pharmaceutical tests in prior generations. So you could market a heart medicine, but they only tested it on men. They didn't test it on women. So women are another one of those groups that have been left out of medical progress for a long time. And the idea that birth control pills have a rate of like 1 in every 1,000 for risk of blood clots, but we have given them out and people take them and there's been no demand to make those better, right? But let's take this opportunity to say, hey, we want the Johnson & Johnson vaccine to be better. And hey, how about those birth control pills? How about making those better too? And how about looking at other things that we take that we've accepted the risk at without demanding that they be better for us?
There's a lot of politics around vaccines, and there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of things going on the net. And this can kind of fuel vaccine hesitancy and kind of give anti-vaxxers some fuel.
I mean, I love it when people are skeptical, and I love it when people want to dig deeper in order to find out what they're taking, right? My concern is that some of the same people who were downplaying the risk of COVID by saying only 2% of people die from it, you know, as if 2% of the entire world population isn't a big number, are now going to look at this this figure that's come out that's less than 1%, and I can't even say it because it's so statistically small, they're going to say, well, look, COVID's not going to kill you, and the vaccine is, which is totally not accurate or true by any measure of examining the facts. I also understand that there are lots of people out there for legitimate historical reasons, especially those in communities of color, African Americans, and Black people, who don't trust the government and don't trust the medical community to get their medicine because of things that have happened in the past and not the distant past. I certainly understand that. And I know a few people who are just waiting, right? They have determined their risk-benefit ratio is that they want to wait to see what happens with the vaccines with other people. I would just challenge people to try and keep an open scientific mind, look and follow the data. I got vaccinated. I ran out as soon as I possibly could, but I think it's just important to be skeptical, to do some research, but in the end, we have to trust science.
Fear is a powerful emotion. I mean, I have all the information, but there's a little part of me that's still a little hesitant. And right now, there's no red flags with the other brands. You know, everybody's probably thinking, oh, what's gonna come next?
Well, Rob, we're in the middle of a trauma. Just over a year of lockdown, stay at home, people losing their jobs. Any kind of hiccup along the way is going to be devastating. I think it's important to just take a moment to look at our feelings. It's another bump in the road on a very, very terrible road that we're on. But know that that science is going to win. And the more we get vaccinated, the quicker we can return to whatever the new normal is going to be.